reliable and credible news and programming to inform, educate, and entertain. As a result, iRadio's content has reached over 17 million people on Facebook, according to Facebook metrics for the last 3 years, a number larger than the population of South Sudan. Thank you for your continued feedback. For detailed news analysis, please check iRadio's website, www.iradio.org, and subscribe to or like iRadio's YouTube channel to get all our latest videos. iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
الأسعار في السوق يوميا قاعدة تزداد بالذات في المواد الغذائية أو المواد التموينية السلع الأساسية الرئيسية حتى المياه ممكن كيف يصل 10,000 لأنه حتى في زيادات قاعدة تزداد وبرميل موية حتى عندنا في قرى ذاته بقى ب 9,000 وبندول أي مقرر ما عرفت يتوقف البضع عندنا يعني أقل واحد عنده بقى ب 13,000 ده حاجات تقليدي يعني زي فول عدس فاصوليا وكان ده جونجارو ولا كان ده خضرة ولا كان ده تبيخوانية ما شيء ولا كده ولا جداد يعني أسعار بتاعت المواد التموينية ده أنا ما أعرف ولكن التجار بتاعت الجملة بقول إنه في جمارك وفي ضرائب وفي حاجات مفرض عليهم كثيرة جدا في نملي وفي ترحيل وعشان كده هم بيجي بقطوا حقهم اللي ساينوا منهم ده بقطوا في البضاعة بتاعهم. طيب في النهاية قاعدة تفهموني يا أخوانا أنت لما نقوم تزيد لتاجر هناك تاجر بقبل بيو وما برفض بيجيبه لكن اللي بيجي بيشيل من تاجر هو يوبط فطمان بمواطن بتاع الصغير البسيط ده يوبط فقروش بتاع تاجر اللي كان دفعه هناك له فيبقى هنا مواطن الداية بين التاجر والحكومة. أننا نتمنى إنه كلام ده لازم يشوفوا له حل كويس بطريقة كويس الأسعار ذاته يكون في انضباط.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Commissioner of PG County in Jonglei State says 4 people were killed and 2 others injured during a clash between SSPDF and SPLIO forces in the Canal region on Monday. President Salva Kiir has directed South Sudan's newly appointed Chief Justice and his deputy to dismiss corrupt judges and appoint competent replacements aimed at restoring public confidence in the country's judiciary. And the Bank of South Sudan has commenced a 5-day workshop in Juba focused on advancing the country's financial infrastructure through the automated transfer system plus. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. The Commissioner of PG County in Jonglei State says 4 people were killed and 2 others injured during a clash between SSPDF and SPLIO forces in the Canal region on Monday. Suleiman Dengthon, who spoke to iRadio this morning from PG, said 4 of those killed were from the opposition side, while the 2 injured were from the government soldiers. Deng said the violence erupted after SPLIO forces reportedly crossed the Sobat River from Fulus towards Dolip. In addition to the canal area, clashes were also reported in Atar and other villages in PG County. The county official says the security situation is now relatively calm.
طبعا العدو في ايامات الثلاثه يوم كانوا تجمع دايرين يهجمونا في منطقه كنال والبنجاق الميل اللي كان فيه بابور هو الدفاع جنوب السودان. هنا الكونسل كان مرت فاتجاه بتاع مد ومشي شبكه مع عدو وطرد الكونسل بتاع عدو. ده شيء انا بعرفه في منطقه بتاع مد في اتجاه بتاع عدو يتشهد 4 نفر في اتجاه بتاعنا يتحول فريق. فهذا الكلام اللي حصل نفسه امبارح يوم وامبارح اوضاع 100% والدفاع جنوب السودان موجود في منطقه اللي هو منطقه كورفلو ومنطقه كنال.
The ongoing conflict has displaced hundreds of residents, many of whom have sought refuge in surrounding areas such as Wunayen, Wunkir, Wulnyang, and Amam. The displaced individuals are reportedly facing dire conditions, lacking access to food and shelter. President Salva Kiir has directed South Sudan's newly appointed Chief Justice and his deputy to dismiss corrupt judges and appoint competent replacements aimed at restoring public confidence in the country's judiciary. Speaking during the official swearing-in ceremony held on Monday in Juba, President Kiir called for sweeping reforms across the judicial system, including the urgent clearance of delayed and pending court cases. The president emphasized the need for ethical conduct within the judiciary and stressed the importance of training judges and ensuring they are paid their salaries and allowances on time. He said these measures are crucial to upholding the rule of law and achieving lasting peace and national unity. President Kiir concluded by assuring the new judicial leadership of his full backing as they embarked on the mission to rebuilding and strengthen the credibility of South Sudan's judiciary. The directive comes amid growing public concern over delayed justice and perceived impunity within the country's legal system.
Therefore, urge you both to take the lead in undertaking comprehensive reforms within the judiciary and ensure that all the delayed and pending cases are cleared. Your leadership must be marked by transparency, accountability, and timely justice delivery to all citizens without any delay. Judges must be trained moral ethics and pay their salaries and allowances on time, and ensure that corrupt judges are dismissed and new ones enrolled. You must together build a judiciary that serves the people, protects the rights, and strengthens the rule of law. This is essential for peace, unity, and development of our country. As your president, I assure you of my full support for these vital reforms to strengthen the judiciary.
Jonglei Information Minister has said that over 600 returnees from Greater Pibor traveled the Juba-Bor-Pibor road yesterday for the first time in 19 years, calling it a sign of peace between the two states. Minister Nyamarloni said the returnees include children, women, youth, and the elderly, who had been residing at Konyo Market in Juba. According to her, upon arrival in Bor town, the returnees were warmly received by the state government before being accompanied to Anyidi near the border with Greater Pibor. She described this movement as historic for the two areas, which have been affected by intercommunal conflict.
Today, a historical day for the people of Jonglei State and Greater Pibor administrative area, when over 600 people from Morley traveling from Juba to Bor and Jonglei State and proceeding to Greater Pibor administrative area. This number of people came from Juba and they were received warmly in Jonglei State in Bor, and such occurrence has not inspired for over 19 years since 2006. We never received such a large number of Murley traveling through Jonglei from any destination like from Juba or anywhere else. Furthermore, these people, including children, women, youth, and elderly, were based in Konyo Market in Juba. The government of Jonglei State, led by His Excellency Dr. Regai, co-governor of Jonglei State, accompanied the people traveling to Pibor up to Anyidi Payam.
Loni attributed the success of this mission to the efforts of the leadership of both Jonglei and Greater Pibor.
This motion is evident of the peace initiatives and the tireless efforts carried out by the government of Jonglei State under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Regaiko, the Governor of Jonglei State, and the Government of Greater Pibor Administrative Area for peace to prevail between the two neighboring states. However, the road from Bor through Anyidi to Pibor, constructed by UNMISS, has played a major role for trade and transportation between the people of Jonglei and Greater Pibor Administrative Area.
The Greater Jonglei area has experienced frequent intercommunal violence, displacement, and deep mistrust over the past decade, particularly between communities in Jonglei and the Greater Pibor Administrative Area. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. Health workers in Lake State have raised urgent demands for better working conditions and the timely issuance of professional license to enhance healthcare services. They expressed these concerns during belated celebration of the International Nurses and Midwives Day held on Monday in Rumbek under the theme, Our Nurses, Our Future, Caring for Nurses, Strengthen Economy. Acting Director General of the Ministry of Health, Joseph Manuel, acknowledged the dedication of health workers to saving lives across Lake State and South Sudan. However, he said delay in incentive payments from health partners has impacted healthcare services in the state. Most notably, Manuel addressed a major concern shared by the health workers.
Issue of the delayment of the incentive is one of them, but we as ministry, we are going to solve this issue as soon. Because delayment, you cannot allow person can be worked day and night, and then is finally end of the month is not getting something to help his family. That one we are not allowed. We will talk with our partners to work hard and solve this issue, delayment of the incentive.
Men Santos, who is the chairperson of the Midwives and Nurses Association in Lake State, has similarly voiced this call. Santos said consistent financial support is not only helpful but essential given the ongoing economic crisis facing nurses and midwives in South Sudan.
Our duties as nurses and midwives are heavy, demanding, and reluctant. Without us, our hospitals simply cannot operate. On behalf of the nurses, we urge UNICEF to adopt the hospital fund system of regularly timed incentive payment to the nurses and midwives. The economic crisis facing us as nurses and midwives in South Sudan make a consistent support not just helpful.
Beyond financial incentives, Santos called for enhanced professional recognition and licensing, adding that it will empower them to serve the communities more effectively. Both Santos and Acting Director Manuel praised the peace and improved security in Lake State, which they said has eased some of the heavy burdens on health workers. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Dingwall, a midwife at Rumbek State Hospital, called for respect, cooperation, and sympathy for all health personnel to function effectively. Her colleague and nurse Andrew Chol Majak stressed the need for an ethical reminder to all health workers, saying, and I quote, "Never do any wrong against human life, take care of every patient without bribery, and protect yourself from harm." And finally, the Bank of South Sudan has commenced a 5-day workshop in Juba focused on advancing the country's financial infrastructure through the Automated Transfer System Plus. An automatic transfer service is a banking feature that enables the automatic movement of funds between accounts, typically for the purpose of overdraft protection, automatically transferring money from a saving account to a checking account if the latter becomes overdrawn. Bill payments, automatically transferring funds to pay recurring bills, and saving plans, scheduling regular transfers from checking to saving accounts to promote saving. The initiative aims to modernize and secure financial transactions, reduce reliance on physical checks, and boost accessibility across the country. The training brings together commercial banks, financial institutions, and key stakeholders and centers on the National Instant Payment System, covering real-time cross-settlement, automated clearinghouse, and instant fund transfer, and central securities depository. David Akum, Director of National Payment System at the Bank of South Sudan, highlighted that the changes will allow clients to make digital transactions without visiting the central bank or using fuel for travel. He emphasized the role of the workshop participants as future trainers to help accelerate system adoption. Also present was Nakadimo Majak Aro, Director of Communication and Public Relations at the Bank of South Sudan, alongside technical experts involved in the implementation. The initiative started in 2019, has already achieved a legal framework for South Sudan integrated payment system. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News, and now to the regional and international news with my colleague Madrama James.
Two suspected terrorists, including an alleged female suicide bomber, were killed in an explosion on Tuesday near a church as Uganda heightened security for Martyrs' Day, the country's largest religious gathering, the authorities said. The blast went off near Munyonyo Martyrs Shrine, a historic Catholic site in a lakeside suburb of Kampala. Acting Director for Information Colonel Chris Magezi said the explosion followed an intelligence-led counter-terrorism operation by the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Elsewhere, the Hamas-run Health Ministry says at least 27 people have been killed and 90 injured by Israeli fire while waiting for aid distribution in Rafah, southern Gaza. The Israeli military says it fired a shot near an aid complex after identifying several suspects, and it is examining reports of casualties. BBC Verify is investigating the incident. A medic in the area told the BBC total panic and being overwhelmed with casualties. Finally, a man accused of throwing Molotov cocktail at the demonstrators attending a march for Israeli hostages in Colorado on Sunday planned the attack for a year, investigators said. Mohammed Sabri Suleiman, 45, who is in charge with the federal hate crime as well as the state charges of attempted murder, assault and use of explosive device, made a brief appearances in court on Monday. Officials say the Egyptian national targeted a group of pro-Israel protesters at an outdoor mall in Boulder and shouted "Free Palestine" as he threw incendiary devices, injuring 8 of them.
Thank you, Madrama. And now to the sports news with Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Baria Johnson. In the world of sports, Borussia Dortmund are confident of completing the signing of Sunderland midfielder Job Bellingham. The 19-year-old has been the subject of major interest across Europe, having helped Sunderland return to the Premier League for the first time since 2017. Bruno Fernandes has rejected a huge offer from Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal. Fernandes has spent the past few days seriously considering the deal, which would have more than double his salary at Manchester United, where he is one of the biggest earners. In Africa, Nigeria's Kano State declared on Monday day of mourning after 22 people died in a road accident while returning from a sports festival in the southwest of the country. Athletes, coaches, officials, medical staff and a journalist were among the fatalities when a state bus carrying the team veered off the road and overturned around the town of Dakasale, approximately 40 kilometers from Kano on Saturday. A further 9 people were injured in the accident, while one person traveling on the bus did not sustain an injury. The contingent was making a journey of over 1,000 kilometers back from the National Sports Festival in Abeokuta, Ogun State, which had concluded on Friday. In tennis, Novak Djokovic ended Cameroon Norris' encouraging French Open run with a straight set victory over the Brighton to reach the quarterfinals. Djokovic, bidding for a standalone record 25th Grand Slam singles title, beat Norrie 6-2, 6-3, 6-2. Norrie, playing in the last 16 at Roland Garros for the first time, was looking for another scalp in Paris after stunning 11th seed Daniil Medvedev in the first round. However, the world number 81 never seriously looked like causing an upset against the 30-year-old great. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Baria Johnson.
Thank you, Lasuba. You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The Commission of PG County in Jonglei State says 4 people were killed and 2 others injured during a clash between SSPDF and SPLIO forces in the Kanal region on Monday. President Salva Kiir has directed South Sudan's newly appointed Chief Justice and his deputy to dismiss corrupt judges and appoint competent replacements aimed at restoring public confidence in the country's judiciary. And the Bank of South Sudan has commenced a 5-day workshop in Juba focused on advancing the country's financial infrastructure through the automated transfer system plus. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Baria Johnson. Thank you for listening.